I guess this is going to be part 2 of my thoughts on Suicide Prevention Week. I didn't know there was going to be a part 2. If you missed part 1, it's somewhere on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel. I'm not exactly sure how to tell you to get there, but it's there somewhere. And part 2 has to do with the idea that I think if you really want to prevent your own suicide, which is what this week I suppose is all about, that you've got to have hope. Now, when I say hope, I feel like I want to mean a hope that things are going to get better. But if to live is Christ, like I was suggesting in my first message, well, for Christ, things never really got any better. In fact, things kind of got worse. For him. For everybody else, life got better. Because that's what a life of sacrifice can lead to. Your life may not be better, but the lives of those you impact will. So I'm not sure that's what hope really is in this case. Because if things don't get better, as however we're defining that materially, in relationships, friends, family, whatever, jobs, eventually we're going to lose hope. And it doesn't seem like that's going to end well. For Paul, who came up with this idea of defining to live is Christ, he seems to have a interesting read or definition of what hope could mean. And he seems to believe that if you're living a life of sacrifice, of betterment for others, if to live is Christ, that he seemed to believe hope may have been more about endurance and a faith that life matters. Not that things are going to get better, because they may not. So there's something about Paul's definition of hope that revolves around the will it takes to live. And that will it takes to live, for a lot of people, often goes unspoken. And especially if you've defined to live is Christ, where to live is concerning yourself entirely with laying your life down for others so that others may be better off. It's going to take some endurance, some will to continue to live that life. Because if to live is Christ, that's hard. That is a challenge that will require endurance, hope. Not that things will get better, but that it matters. The most frequent place in the Bible where you see this word hope is in the Psalms. And the Psalms represent this collection of people writing poems and thoughts and prayers and things like that, mostly to God, who are frequently struggling, terribly struggling with life. And honestly, it seems like maybe kind of wishing things would go a little better. But the psalmists always seem to end up in an interesting place. They say things or ask questions like, where does my hope come from? Where does my hope come from? And they describe their hope being in the Lord, their hope coming from the Lord. Is that a belief that one day things will be better? Or is this thing, this hope that's coming from the Lord, is a sense that it matters and that you can endure a life that matters? Perhaps hope is a strength. I could be wrong. But perhaps it is the strength that we need to continue to live when to live is Christ. To lay down a life sacrificially for others, regardless of how it's turning out for us personally today. Because what's interesting is that we have control over. We've got no control over the results we get. We've got no control over whether people thank us or are grateful or are happy with us or that we get happiness or joy or anything out of it. We have no control over any of that. But what we can control is we can always control the fact that we can lay down our lives for others sacrificially. If to live is Christ, there's no guarantee the circumstances are going to get any better. But I guarantee this, that your hope, the strength to endure for a life of sacrifice for others will be given to us because, frankly, that life is the life that matters more today now than ever. That life, you're choosing to live as Christ matters. And I guess that's my definition of hope for today.